So we've never talked in this space. We've never used this space to talk. So I hope you guys can hear us. And I'm so grateful that you all came to just experiment with us on this first night to see what it's like to bring a bunch of friends together to hear another friend and brilliant artist have a conversation. And so thank you for jumping in and spending the day with us and the night with us.
So you and we were just talking about like, I just opened the show here in New York.
Yeah.
And it's my first solo show here.
And has anybody gone to see Jubilee yet? If you haven't, you have to. But it's not far from here. It's on for a while, right? Till
yeah, well, it's I think the 26th or 25th. Yeah, you have to check it out. Yeah. But we were just talking about how like as a black man who creates art, it's often difficult to have the art world discuss my work in a way that is intellectual and not just a cursory glance of like, oh, he's making black figures and they're abstracted. You know, I feel that I would like to see it where it's like this is just part of humanity, you know. But yeah, that's what we were talking about before the cameras came on. Yeah.
And is there anything, as a white woman who wouldn't know, is there anything where you also say yes to be seen as just beautiful, extraordinary art, right?
Right.
At the same time, there is a lens, a body, a face, a shade of skin that hasn't been in many ways represented as beautifully as you represented for far too long.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do you? Is there because there's space for that, right?
Right. Everything that we value in society, you know, whether it's a Mercedes-Benz or a mansion or some nice shoes, sneakers, whatever, that's art, you know. If music, you take any of that away, and you know, what are we like? Just IRS pray, and you know what I'm saying? Just like what you know, what is life? Yeah, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so Jubilee, what was the thought behind that in particular, and that word and that series?
First of all, you know, I'm coming as far as like the African American experience. Jubilee represents the Emancipation Proclamation. So Jubilee is, I would say, I can't dictate it because who knows what I'm going to paint next, but I feel like this is going to be one of my last shows where I'm gazing out at the world. You know, yeah, yeah. So yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. Well, just the process of being an artist to get to that, and the journey that you keep taking, and the self-discovery, and the view of the world, and
yeah.
I think that's why when we see your work, we have that. It does something for us. We didn't create it, but we can sit in front of it and we can absorb it, and it can feel. It can take us somewhere. It can remind us of things. It can be, and sometimes we don't understand it. It just is, and we want to live with it, or we want to look at it often, and it does something unexplainable. Right. But it's so important.
Yeah, I love that. I love when people aren't able to explain what it is that draws them to my work. In terms of what's on the canvases, it's 100% spiritual. So it must be some greater energy.
Something coming through you.
Yeah, that's creating the work. You can mature to a point where you can learn to stabilize and, you know, stabilize all of the gifts that you have and not have that equal part of destruction. So I'm grateful to actually to have made it. I feel like that phase where I'm like, okay, I can maybe make it till I'm 80 or something.
Do you go through periods where have you ever tried to not paint? Have you ever tried to restrain yourself and see what happens? Have you ever tried to just...
We were learning art history, and I'm talking about like hundreds of hours of art history. It sterilized me. Like I felt like, you know, first of all, what could I contribute to this 500, 600 years of art? So I left the Art Institute. Wow. I left the Art Institute, and I tried to become an artist, which led to music production, and you know, you're just doing something, especially like when you're in your early mid 20s, you feel that you could do anything, so, which is great, you know, but I always knew that I would circle back to my purpose, my true purpose, which is visual art. Early on, I saw that I was getting attention for being an artist, and I was like, it was too easy, you know.
So you didn't trust it.
I didn't trust it. I didn't trust it. And I still have issues with that, because like I've shown all around the world now, and then my work is like valued at all this stuff, and I'm just like, I still have underdog mentality, you know, and I don't know if it'll ever go away. And I don't think that I want it to go away.
Well, it's a funny thing, isn't it, to put a price on art?
Yeah.
Right? It's a strange thing, and it's become such a business, and it's to decide the value. You know the value to you.
Yeah.
You know, the person that sits with it, looks at it, knows the value. And then there's this kind of this business in any of the creative fields, where there's this other measurement, other business that should just be there to make everything else possible, right?
Right.
Take the pressure off, make it possible, or but so often it does. It gets you further from just that simple thing you want to do and communicate. And
I look at them as two separate things, right? I had to come to terms with that, because I literally and physically did not want to part with my work. I was a victim of capitalism. You know, I was in the housing projects, and you know, it was hard. So I had this idea that if you become rich, then you become evil, right? And where I've come to now is that I think that money allows a person to be more of what they were in the first place. You know? Yeah. It just gives them.
It can give freedom.
Yeah, I'm saying if you're fucked up, it's gonna make you really fucked up.
Oh, I understand that. Right.
Yeah.
It's gonna just magnify whatever those.
Yeah, and if you're charitable, you're gonna become more charitable. Right. You're gonna have more resources to do such. Right. So I felt that I had to change my attitude, because I was repelling. I don't believe in blessings, but this random chance or whatever, where I am now, like the positive part that I see from my market is that I stand on the shoulders of so many black artists who died without seeing a penny, right? And they're not just black artists, it's white artists as well. I try to help like other artists who are up and coming, like prep them a little bit. Because right now we're sitting in Basquiat's space through like this art world, who they can be extremely brutal and callous. And it's like, if you don't have the fortification around you spiritually and otherwise, then you could really be in harm's way, you know? And I'm just, am I talking too long?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's wonderful to hear you talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's important to me, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. No, so much to come to terms with the life as an artist, and to communicate and to.
Yeah. I mean, it is, and my honest opinion of the art world right now is that it has become completely corporate. I feed my whole family, right? So they all depend on me, just like, you know, I'm sure your family depends on you, and it's not like whatever, rare, but that is the fear that everyone is walking around with, you know. It's like that's what capitalism kind of does.
But then as an artist, right, if you say, then it is that strange thing we all deal with we're supposed to stay, you got to stay a little bit in that area where you're pushing and you're questioning and you're
Right. Well, but I think that
and it's good, and you do, and you need to. You have to.
Right. I think that though, if that is your natural practice, like so with my work, right? I once tried to paint reproduce a painting from Jacob Lawrence and try to like see if I can add my thing to it, you know? And I did it, and I was like, this is not you. You know, like, so there is Edgar Allan Poe, and then there's like, what's my guy who did Green Eggs and Ham? Dr. Seuss, right? Both are necessary, or a Tupac Shakur who's like, he could have these heavy themes and everything, and then there's a LL Cool J. I know that my strength is showing what we could be, right?
That's really beautiful.
You know, and sometimes like I get a little, you know, the journalists come to me and they're like, you know, it's just so beautiful and it's just black beauty, and I'm like, oh shit, no, like it's so much deeper. There is pain there, but I'm also showing us what we have the potential to be. I leave all of the problems of the world behind. I say, well, what can we be? Like, this is what I'm painting right now, you know? Yeah.
It really feels that way.
Yeah.
Your work.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of, before we met and got to know you, I just love your work.
Thank you.
I just think it is beautiful. But it is more than beautiful, and I don't have the words to describe it. It's strong, too. It's very, you know, sometimes you see the work and you still feel somebody's discovering, they're finding, they put something out there. It feels like it knows what it is. It has it's something very absolute about it, even though it moves and there's a fluidity, and there's the way the colors, the way the shapes, the way the movement, the feeling there, but it's decided.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how else to explain that, right? It feels with a very steady hand.
So I'm discovering I really have a hold on that painting. It's time to destroy it because I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable, and I need to be uncomfortable because growth is not necessarily a pleasant experience. It's an uncomfortable experience. So I'm trying to find the painting. If there's a secret ingredient, that's what it is in the work. And it's more complex than just black joy or black figuration abstraction. And I hope that I don't have to pass away until people can like really look at it and appreciate it for that, you know, whatever, you know. Yeah.
Well, we do appreciate it, and many more people, I think, that are becoming more aware. I don't think anybody who isn't face to face with your work doesn't appreciate it. It's just making sure enough people get face to face with it, right? But
yeah,
it's stunning and beautiful, and clearly comes from such an authentic place.
Yeah.
And so thank you.
Thank you. You know, and I also just want to thank you for opening your space to me. And I know, you know, we spoke when this was in a development stage. I'm sure it's still growing, you know, the Atelier. And tell me if I'm saying that wrong, because Atelier, I'm not French.
Well, you know what's so funny is I started this thinking this is going to be this Atelier, and I'm going to have
Atelier.
All this stuff, but then somehow that part I haven't even started yet, and the building itself has taken over. So you know, you come into a room, you think you're going to build something to deal with sustainable, you know, fashion as art, and really to me it was just about creativity. And then you take the boards off the walls and you discover that.
Yeah.
And then you learn more about the history, and then and the building has reshaped everything. So to sit here with you as a first conversation in this room, it's like you're christening this space and allowing it to be the beginning of something new. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, so before you had the space, I would walk past here, and you know, I'm big on feeling feeling, like how do I feel about a space? Like, I don't know if you've ever had it where you walk into a space, it's almost like it's a negative feeling. You just want to leave. You know, you don't even know why. But then there's these positive spaces that invite you in, and that's the way I feel about this space.
I got to get you painting here. Got to encourage him to paint.
Yeah, I mean,
See what this space does. We'll close the whole building. We'll all
yeah,
bring you coffee.
that would be crazy. You know, like, because I think that I've noticed I paint differently in different places.
Spaces, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to show you upstairs. Yeah, let's walk around.
Yeah, I've never been up there. So yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. Hey.
Hey, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
So we'll move the chairs around some tables, we'll figure out food in the front room, and we'll all just figure it out together.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for being an audience, and thank you so much. Yes. Oh, I got us.